So, hey, what's up, guys? The life coach, Lucas Jackson here, and the host of the Talking Crap podcast, which we are going to have a new episode this weekend, which is going to be on the WWE Hall of Fame. Basically, I got asked to do another podcast this week, and was meant to be recording it tonight. For one reason or another, it's not happening tonight, but I had some notes. Basically, it's something new for me, to be fair. It's a review of Monday Night Raw. I'm trying to keep it as succinct as possible, and if you watch it, you watch it. You don't, you don't. Here we go. So, Monday Night Raw yesterday took place from the Performance Center, as are all WWE shows at the moment because of what's going on in the world. We start the VIP lounge, and I think that this is becoming a segment which is becoming overused. It seems that MVP's done about 10 of them in the past kind of couple of months alone. But anyway, there's 3 women's Money in the Bank competitors on it: Shayna Baszler, Asuka, and Nia Jax. I just felt a bit like they're not the 3 best women to have on the mic. I'm glad it was short, I guess, and Asuka's antics are quite funny in it. But I can only award it a 5 out of 10 because it wasn't the best. Even MVP was laughing at the end because Asuka's antics were just insane. They teased Shayna and Asuka obviously having a face-off, and then they both kicked Nia Jax quite hard, might I add. And Nia Jax was outside the ring, and then people trying to separate the other 2. 5 out of 10 for that. Then they had a gauntlet match, which they had one on Raw, I think it was about a year ago, where it was about an hour and a half, and this one wasn't too far off. I think it was much shorter, but it was about an hour still. We had Lashley go over firstly Tyson Neal and then Akira Tozawa in just basic 36-second squashes, both with a spear. He then got Shelton Benjamin, who gave him a little bit more physicality on the outside, but still got beaten quite quickly with a spear. It was noteworthy that Lashley wasn't accompanied by Lana. Continuing that story, and they were showing having an argument after Lashley lost to Humberto Carrillo, who was next, via DQ. So Humberto was in the match. And Humberto, I must say, I think he's really underrated, but the problem he's having is he's bland as fuck and he can't talk. And so it's always going to be a struggle for him instead of really doing that. But he had some good showings. Humberto versus Garza came off of Lashley, and I felt that was very good. And it was nice to see him finally get, a win over Zelina's clients, because Zelina's clients kind of went on a kind of sort of undefeated streak for ages, and it was really bugging me. He then faced Austin Theory, and I think Austin Theory is great, but he's too young. He needs to be back. He's someone who needs to be back on NXT, honing his craft. And I feel that the constant losses now for this Zelina Vega stable are starting to kind of be a bit like, well, why do you need her when you literally lose regardless? But anyway, he beats both of those. Out of nowhere, kind of finishing on both, and then we had the return of AJ Styles. I think that was leaked anyway. I don't know if it was meant by WWE, but it was definitely out there in the realm of internet wrestling discussion. It sucked seeing him coming out with a big return of that crowd, but it was nice seeing him in the match. He felt more aggressive. He felt, he felt like he was going back to kind of the old kind of villain AJ Styles, and obviously without having the OC. RIP. It kind of had to be done that way. I did mention the Boneyard match, and he did it as well. He beat Humberto. There's a promo after the match, and he mentions that, I got buried, so what? He's very nonchalant about it, and acting like he didn't lose the match because there was no rules or whatever, but I'm guessing WWE and Undertaker defined those rules, and Undertaker did win. But yeah, I gave that a 7 out of 10. The gauntlet, that's a whole thing. The opening segment, I got 5 out of 10. Then we have a Seth interview in the ring. I don't understand why, because Charlie Caruso asked one question and then Seth went on a promo. He basically just delivers a promo saying that, Drew needs to respect the champions that come before him, and that Seth is going to heal Drew, basically save Drew McIntyre. It was well delivered. It's a good promo, to be fair, as far as his kind of no crowd promos go. I award it an 8 out of 10. We then have Shane Thorne and Brendan Venk backstage of MVP. MVP kind of hyped them up, and they got a little talking segment. This was followed by Murphy backstage, and I find Murphy the most boring person probably going. And he kind of reiterated what Seth Rollins said in his promo about being a disciple, and that one day the goal is to be as good as Seth or to even be better, and that they're both aware, aka Seth is not aware, that day is going to come. I found these interviews both quite boring. They're not the most interesting people, but I'm happy that Brendan Venk and Shane Thorne, I guess they kind of reintroduced them. They then had a tag match between Cedric Alexander, Ricochet against Brendan Venk and Shane Thorne. From Call Them the Aussies, both these tag team names, and we know what's going on. Name your tag teams. I don't understand why you would just need to have your names as your tag team. It makes no fucking sense. And it's odd that they're doing tag team stories after they released the OC, the Revival, and Hawkins and Ryder, and even Kurt Satch technically was part of them. With Bo Dallas wasn't in the B team, but yeah, now they seem to be doing tag team stories. Great if you're going to keep at it, WWE. I mean, it's needed for a long time, and these teams they're decent, but obviously they are kind of new to it, and it will take a long while before obviously they potentially could get to the level of the Usos, New Day, Street Profits, etc. But, it was decent. It was nice to see it get a bit of time. I think the Brendan Venk is definitely someone I think is on Vince's radar. I think Shane Thorne is probably just happy to have a job still. I gave it a 6 out of 10 because there were some nice bits in it. It was nice that Shane Thorne and Brendan Venk went over. In this, I think it was very crucial that they did. As there's not really much of the Cedric and Ricochet team apart from them just being two black guys you flip. And so it would needed to, and they have won I think every single match they've had since they debuted a tag team I think last month sometimes. Then we had another tag team match. It's back-to-back tag matches, but this one was actually really fantastic, and I awarded it 8 out of 10. Street Profits against the Viking Raiders. Their promos definitely before the match. They need a crowd. Street Profits. Montez Ford is just oozing charisma and oozing everything the crowd needs. I know it's not WWE's fault, but yeah, they maybe should have cut the promo out of this. I felt the Viking Raiders. I felt this a couple of weeks ago when they matched at the finish. I feel they've been a little bit off in the ring, and I guess that's attributed to the fact that they can't obviously train as much as usual. And they did feel a little bit off at the start of the match, but definitely as you went past the 5-minute mark, kind of the match definitely switched gears, and there were some mad displays on here and some good back and forth and some really good tag team wrestling on display here. So I do recommend this. And I'm guessing as Viking Raiders win, and they did the promo afterwards where they mentioned about the win, and they've got this kind of like streak going against the Street Profits. The Street Profits haven't beaten them. I'm guessing that it's leading to a match, most likely at Money in the Bank. But it wouldn't surprise me if WWE did that weird thing where it's like a TV-only feud, and it might just be on next week's Raw. As Money in the Bank, I think, already has about 6 matches, to be fair. We then enter interview session, like I said. We had 4 in a row, including adverts and recaps. It felt a bit like watching a talk show for about half an hour at this point. Drew's interview, I find him unbearable as a face. I'm pleased to refix this. I know it's unfortunate you've got Seth, who's a brilliant villain. And they announced returns, by the way, next week for Randy Orton and Edge, who seem that they're going to continue their feud, even though it should have ended at WrestleMania, and that match was fucking awful. But we had that. We had the Vikings interview, like I just said. We had Aleister Black do a promo, and he specifically targeted AJ Styles, which I found quite weird because the other promos like AJ's, Ray's as well have been talking about the match in general. AJ Styles, he said last night that he's going to throw someone off the roof, which seems to be this kind of running gag. It didn't happen on the Money in the Bank. I'm fucking disappointed. It didn't happen. But anyway, as a Black, I find him side of a substance. And then Ray's delivering the same fucking promo that he did for the last couple of years. Yes, Ray, we get that you're in your 40s, and we get that there are mainly younger people on the roster than you, but you can't play this, it's going to be the last time I'm ever going to do this routine. When you've got, obviously, Tamina on the roster, no one's Mina, on the roster, and she's 41, I believe, competing for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Goldberg is 53, she's had a Universal title run. You can't play this old card anymore, in my opinion, and it's boring. He's not the best. He's never been the best on the mic, personally. His actions are best in the ring. And again, I question why we needed that many interviews back to back, including recaps and adverts. Like I said, it was about half an hour long. And Race feels like it'd be off an auto cue. Most of that I awarded 5s and 6s to Razor 4 because it was abysmal. We then go on to Charlotte vs Liv Morgan. I don't know whether the announcers were surprised it was a match because Charlotte comes out in wrestling gear to do a promo, and then Liv Morgan interrupts in her wrestling gear, and the announcers that make it shocked that they're suddenly having a match. I've never understood why people do this, and it fucking annoyed me. I remember Orton's first one. I'm a big Orton fan. When he's first won as world champion, where he would come out in his wrestling gear at the start of every show. It's like, why would you do that if you're not booked? Like, wear a fucking suit. But anyway, why Charlotte on Raw? I don't get it. Like, she's NXT champion. You don't see fucking who is NXT champion? Who is mainly NXT champion? whoever it is. I think it's Tommaso Ciampa. You don't see him appearing on fucking on Raw and SmackDown every week. Like, go to NXT and stay there. Anyway, Liv Morgan, I can see now why they built her up over the past couple of months. I think she's lost. She obviously beat Natalya at WrestleMania. She's beaten Ruby Riott twice since she came back too. And so I guess it was all to link to this. And for eagle-eyed viewers, you'll remember that it was after her match with Charlotte, and she lost it on SmackDown in 2018, that Liv went on her discovery mission and kind of, didn't return until she interrupted the whole Rusev Lana Lashley storyline late last year. So they linked it obviously into that, but I mean, I'd argue it's a bit like that time the Undertaker came back to face Brock Lesnar after he beat the streak like 16 months later. It's like, come on, like there is a limit, I think. I think personally, unless it's your first feud when you come back, it's just a bit wasted in my opinion. But yeah, with this, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Like, Charlotte's Boston Crab, by the way, is fucking awful. There's some nice bits from Liv. She has some kind of innovative offense, and I'm hoping she gets to do more of it. And it was nice to see her kind of finally get like a solid match. But I just question the booking of Charlotte here. It's a bit like, if she's going to be on Raw and NXT every week, like, what is the point? Like, if she's the only one allowed to do that, I just think that's really poor. It's a poor decision, and I don't know who's behind it. I don't know whether it's the network or whether it's Vince, or whether it's maybe even Charlotte herself, without Charlotte herself, to be fair. Well, to be fair, she's going out with Andrade, isn't she? But yeah, I just questioned the booking. We then move on to the main event, which is Drew McIntyre versus Buddy Murphy. I don't think there's anything to Buddy Murphy. He's not a main event guy, in my opinion. He's got Fall Guy, though, I guess, and he takes a good bump, I guess, and that's why he was put in this position of being, in this main event, and he took the fall quite nicely. He mocked Drew McIntyre's 3, 2, 1 Claymore countdown, runs, gets Claymore kicked, boom. But what I found more interesting, was the stuff after the match. I felt that the kind of tease the face to face and Seth running away kind of thing, and then attacking from behind, and then Seth seemed obsessed with the WWE Championship, getting his hands on it, and I think that was integral for me, and integral to the segment, he then obviously took a lot of time doing that, and couldn't hit the stomp. Got Glasgow kissed and then bailed out before Drew could hit the Claymore. Anyway, I gave it a 6 out of 10 as a whole. Like, I found what happened after the match better than the actual match. And Drew as a face, it's tough to watch, and I'm hoping something they do address soon. Overall, I gave Raw a 7 out of 10. Like, I felt that I was happy with the jobber matches in the sense of, like, established star versus some NXT nobody. I'm glad they were gone. Though even though they did have, obviously, Tozawa drop out quite quickly in the gauntlet match. And it's still, obviously, it's not their fault. They've got the full roster, but it's still very, very lower card feuds. Like, other than Drew and Seth, that's the main kind of feud in that brand. And then it kind of drops down to Ben if you've got the Street Profits. But then, there's a lot of these smaller kind of stories. There's nothing else happening main event wise. And they're relying heavily on the Money in the Bank gimmick to push this Sunday's show, and it's a very unique match, and I'll be doing Money in the Bank predictions tomorrow, so I don't want to get too much into that. But overall, I felt that Raw was decent. Probably the most amount of wrestling they put on one show, I'd say, since this whole thing kind of started. I will say, though, that obviously, while it's not their fault that they don't have access to a lot of their stars, and though they are obviously bringing back Orton and Edge next week, they've had, obviously, Jinder return last week, I'm glad they're treating him like a big deal now. I think it's important. I think, as much as they might think they fucked up giving the WWE Championship, he is a former WWE Champion. I think he deserves to be treated on the same par as other former WWE Champions have. And, they've had, AJ returned obviously tonight, so they are slowly getting them back, but it is very mid-card. And where is Andrade? Why did Andrade disappear the minute after he's had like a big kind of storyline moment? It seems every time he has a title defense, he then disappears for a few weeks. I'm assuming he's banging Charlotte somewhere. But yeah, like, the US champion, he should be part of the Money in the Bank card. Why is Becca Lynch not wrestling? Like, Becca Lynch hasn't really got a feud at the moment, and I feel a bit like they need to put a bit more effort into some of the higher up stuff. But I can see perhaps why they're not. But anyway, that's what I thought. I don't know whether I'll do this again. If you liked it, like it. If you don't, just enjoy your day. And there's no need to be so negative. You know. Anyway, my overall score for Raw was 7 out of 10. Stay safe. Fuck off.